About an hour and a half ago, or even 2 hours ago, Netflix dropped what it's a video nobody expected. A sneak peek into the recording of season 4 of Bridgerton. And I'm certain a lot of people, especially if you're seeing this video, have watched that video, but whilst watching it over and over and over again, I came to some realizations that there were some sneak peeks, some Easter eggs that Netflix worked into that short 1 minute 15 seconds clip. So here are 10 Easter eggs you might have missed from that video. Starting with number 1, the potential release date. I think there is a strong possibility that Bridgerton season 4 will be released on February 14th, 2026. What do I mean by that? Stay with me a while and walk with me. The sneak peek video we were shown had the tagline, "It's the season of love." Now, what holiday during the year is usually tagged with that? It's Valentine's Day, right? It's considered the day of love. February 14th, especially when the build up to that period is always spoken of as the season of love. Now, sure, the season of love might refer to the fact that the sneak peek dropped on February 14th, but stay with me here. The fact that it is the season of love, right? And Bridgerton is a romance series. One could say that every single one of their seasons have always been the seasons of love, right? Because that love has always been central to the story that Bridgerton tries to tell. But I do believe that It's the Season of Love is just a little wink, a little nod to the audience to give us a tease of exactly when the release date would be. And I do think that it makes sense for this announcement to come exactly a year. We already know that we're not getting Bridgerton season 4 this year, unfortunately. They already told us that it's a 2-year interval, but we do know that based off of what we saw, recording, right? The shooting has started. The shooting of the season had started. They're probably wrapping up with the shooting, and then of course there's going to be the dubbing, the edits, the grading, the subtitling, every single thing that has to be put in place because Bridgerton is a global phenomenon. They're going to release it across multiple markets. But I do honestly do believe that just that tagline of Season of Love is one acknowledging the fact that yes, this video is dropping on Valentine's Day, but also subtly hinting that season 4 could possibly drop next Valentine's Day 2026, which means that we're not waiting a year and a half for season 4. Exactly a year, 365 days from now, we'll be able to get Benedict's story, which is awesome. The second thing that I think we might have missed, or rather it's actually pretty obvious if that is something that concerns you or something that you have interest in, is the fact that we can see that the relationship between Portia and Colin has improved remarkably. Right? She's touching him. They're smiling. They're laughing with each other. It's a great step up, a great upgrade to show that, yes, their relationship is developing favorably. Now, for those that are like, what exactly is the big deal about it? I think it's very interesting because if we look at the other couples, right, there's not really been a chance to show the Bridgerton family member bonding well with their in-law, right? The parent of whoever is the love of their life, right? So season 1, clearly, the Duke of Hastings, Simon's father died. So there was no Daphne needing to interact or meet with him. And Simon's mother was long dead. So that we never really got that relationship to see it blossom and grow. Season 2, on the other hand, is, of course, Anthony, right? But we never saw Anthony interact in any way with Mary Sharma, right? Their relationship wrapped up at the end of season 2, and in season 3 what we got to see was the wedded bliss, their wedded life. But at that point in time, of course, Edwina and Mary had both left, so they were not there. They were not a central focus. And I do think that the thing about historical romances, especially set in this period, is that marriages is not just between individuals, it's also between their families. And so I actually find it very satisfying and very interesting to see that season 4 is definitely going to take it a step further to show just how well Colin Bridgerton is being brought into the Featherington household. So we definitely would see the growth, the development, the closeness, the bonds between Colin and Portia with regards them both loving Penelope. And speaking of Penelope, Penelope is the third Easter egg you might have missed or you might have noticed. But we definitely see that she has grown closer and stronger, like closer in bond with the queen. because we saw that tiny little clip. We saw that tiny little clip at the masquerade ball. She looks gorgeous, stunning. I repeat, her bazookas are bazoonging, and they are right there in our face. And I'm just like, Colin Bridgerton, you lucky bastard. Look at your wife's breasts. Aren't they? Anyway, sorry, I digress. I'll take a moment to look away from Penelope Featherington's gorgeous, beautiful breasts and consider the fact that she's closer, she's whispering, she's scheming. So what this shows us is that there will still be scheming in season 4 with regards to the Queen. It's just that now she does have a partner in crime. Now that she knows exactly who Lady Whistledown is, we can see that there would be a furthering in that relationship. We can see that both with regards Lady Whistledown and Penelope, the Queen is going to be central to that plot. Now, would that work? We don't know, but there are hints of that in that little teaser that we got that makes me see that, yes, there's going to be running commentary on what is happening. The Queen will give her input, Penelope will give her input, and the two of them will go closer as a result of that. So we get that. Which leads me to the fourth Easter egg, of course, and like, duh, this is expected, but we're going to be getting more Pauline. I am happy about this. Now, as one of the people who believe that Pauline did not really get as much time to shine in season 3, knowing that we get to see them happy, wedded parents, right, with their son, I am beyond the moon. I am beyond thrilled. So even though Pauline did not get enough screen time for me personally in season 3, the fact that we're going to get hints of them in season 4 makes me very happy. So we definitely know that we're getting lots of Pauline come season 4. Still speaking of Pauline, that tiny little scene where we see Colin walking into the bedroom with his wife, it's followed shortly, briefly by the door closing. And the way in which it's cut and edited makes me believe that Portia Featherington is going to be living with them. Like, it's clear that Colin and Penelope would most likely be living in the Featherington house. And so, therefore, Portia is going to be living with them. They're not putting her away. She's not going to be living separate from them. She's going to be living with them in that household. And which, once again, of course, logically it makes sense, because then that means that there's no need for them to discard of the Featherington set, right? The Featherington mansion set. They get to reuse it this season as well. And of course, nobody's going to want to lose sight of Polly Walker. It's Polly Walker. So of course, they're going to get more use out of her. She's going to be present. She's going to be there. And it's just going to be nice just to see her, because I think something else that a lot of us talked about with regards to season 3 was that the mending of the relationship between Penelope and her mother seemed to have happened way too fast and did not feel earned. So it's possible that we're going to get to see them slowly grow even closer in season 4. So Portia is definitely living with Pauline in season 4. How that's going to work, I don't know. But I'm not complaining. I don't mind. I love Portia Featherington. I love Penelope Featherington. I'm okay with Colin Bridgerton. Yes, I'm actually happy about this. Now, speaking of past relationships being featured in the season, it seems like that focus will be on Pauline, which means that we are not going to get Canthony in season 4. Because, as somebody who loves Canthony, my heart is breaking, but also as somebody who understood that due to all the different plot points that were running in the background in season 3 that didn't give Pauline enough time for them to truly shine with regards to their relationship, realizing that if we had Canthony and we also had Pauline, all of them running it's going to take away from benophie. Right? It's going to take away from benophie. And so therefore, I'm actually pretty happy about it. But it is clear that we are not going to be getting Canthony in season 4. Instead, the other Easter egg, and that was like a short, brief shot, but I think a lot of people probably noticed it because we're all attuned to it. But we do get Anthony Bridgerton. So we are going to get the Viscount Bridgerton. Is going to be present in season 4, but it looks like it's going to be more with him singular, as a singular person, as an individual, as the elder brother. It's possible that Simone, of course, has other engagements and could not show in time for season 4. Or maybe they're going to just bring her in as a brief cameo at the end. I don't know. But it's clear that the person that is going to feature is Anthony. So we're not getting Anthony, but we're getting Anthony, and that is great. And that is okay. And I'm happy about that as well. The eighth thing that you might have missed, although I doubt it because it was right there and it kept being shown repeatedly, is the fact that both John and Francesca are definitely going to be back in time for Violet's masquerade ball. In fact, they're going to actively participate in it, which for me personally is something I consider very good, because once again, I do want to get more of Francesca and John. I think that John is amazing. I think that is fantastic. And I just want to see him and Francesca be very happy and in love as much as possible before we get to when she was wicked. I'm just putting it out there because, like, yeah, I want more John. I want more John. And I think that it also makes a lot of sense because with regards to the books, the fact that there's always been a curtain close in between each of the different romances, except for when, certain sisters or certain siblings needed to be brought in for like a new characters, a new protagonist or a new love interest. That is when that happens. But with TV, it's important for, audiences to be able to see that these relationships go on in the background. John and Francesca are married for a while before what happens. So therefore, I think it's very important. And I actually really did like the fact that we get to see both of them at Violet's masquerade and they're having a blast. But it is clear that only they are there. Right? It is clear that only they are there. Michaela Sterling is most obviously and most clearly not present. So it seems like season 4 would focus more on Francesca and John's married life. Michaela is not going to be there. Once again, which is fitting because if it is that you've read When He Was Wicked, you do realize or you do remember that Michael Sterling had to be gone a lot because of reasons, because of certain reasons. So it makes sense. It makes sense and it fits that Michaela is not going to be present. So only John and Francesca are there, but not just John and Francesca. Somebody else that also went to Scotland is also back, and that is Eloise Bridgerton, which once again, I'm actually pretty happy about because of the fact that, and this is where the Easter egg comes in, right? Because of the fact that if we recall or if we recollect, it was at certain events, at a certain party planned by the family that Eloise's own story kicks off. And clearly that happened with Colin, or rather with Pauline's relationship. Now, because of the fact that the seasons were rearranged, Benophie came before Pauline, but in the season, Pauline is before Benophie. So it is possible that Eloise is the certain letter that Eloise gets and responds to, which effectively kicks off her own relationship. It is possible that it is going to be at the end of Benophie's season that Eloise's romance kicks off. So that is just a little subtle Easter egg. It makes sense that they bring her back. It makes sense that, of course, they keep on building on the fact that she's the closest with her brother. She's the closest with Benedict, to be precise. And so therefore, I also think that it is possible that there will be subtle hints of her, scribbling away and writing away and hiding letters, because letters are central to her own story with Philip. And so therefore, the fact that she's present in that sneak peek matters. It matters a whole lot. And finally, the very last Easter egg, Bridgerton season 4 is going to maintain the tradition of the smoldering, the wet puppy, I am begging you, please love me, expression and confession of his male leads, as we see with Benedict Bridgerton, which I am here for. In fact, we are all here for it. That is why we love Bridgerton. We want to see them yearn. We want to see them beg. We want to see them have hot sex. We want to see them be all like, oh my God, I love you, and everything else. Do I have problems with the book? With certain decisions made in the books, An Offer from a Gentleman, that season 4 is going to be based off of? Yes. Because although I do love Cinderella, there are certain decisions that Benedict takes in that book that made me want to enter the book and smack him real hard. But I'm also a big fan of the grovel, of the begging, of the yearning. And as much as I can be like, oh, Benedict, like my 21st century brain is like, boy, why would you do this? But also my 21st century brain is like, you're going to grovel and you're going to yearn and it's going to be delicious, because already we all know how much Benedict Bridgerton yearns. He's shown us that in season 1, season 2, season 3, and season 4 is going to be season. And I cannot wait. And I'm really excited. But yeah, that is me. That is me reacting. That is me reacting to what we just got, the sneak peek. I'm so excited. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. If you're a couple, I hope you like if you're a couple or you're in a relationship, I hope you have a great fantastic Valentine's Day. If like me you're single, I hope you still have a great fantastic Valentine's Day. If anything, Netflix and Bridgerton have, fed us today, and for that I am happy. I am going to eat something yummy. I am going to cuddle my cat. I'm going to pour myself a glass of wine. I am going to watch my favorite scenes from Bridgerton season 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to have a great Valentine's Day. I hope you do too. Like this video if you want to. Drop a comment if you can. Share this video if you're interested in doing so. Check out my Patreon if you would like to support me. Until my next video, do remember, obsessing over the things you love, perfectly valid coping mechanism.